Hare Krishna, everyone. I'm going to be presenting about humility, right? So most of us, we already know what humility is, right? So there's like no point of like actually explaining what it is, because most of us, like, we go to the temple, we see it, we practice it, right? And then what about like outside, right? Outside of the temple, it's hard to like always embody it in a sense. So I was thinking of like, instead of exactly like defining it, I was thinking I would like tell a few pastimes of uh Prabhupada and others like acharyas from our sampradaya, and yeah. So I was thinking, so we should start from there's so like one time in Sweden, Srila Prabhupada, he was like giving a lecture to the public, and the public back then, it wasn't like, there wasn't of like first class thought process, right? They were pretty rowdy in their nature, and Prabhupada was like speaking of first class, second class, third class, fourth class, right? The Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And so at the end of the talk, this one person, he raises his hand and he goes, "Oh, Swamiji, you think you're talking of like the four classes, right? So do you think you're first class?" And like sitting on the stage with so much big celebration, you think you're holier than us, right? You think of these four classes, do you think you're first class, right? And Prabhupada immediately, he folded his palms with tears shooting from his eyes, and he said, "No, I'm fifth class. Right? I consider myself the servant of the four classes." This is Prabhupada. We're not talking about like me and you. We're talking about Srila Prabhupada's humility. When Srila Prabhupada, like, he got his devotees for the grand opening of the Mayapur temple, it was like success from all considerations, from all standpoints. Just think of a sadhu from Kolkata living in Radha Damodar, getting on a cargo ship, going to America, preaching far and wide of the power of the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is like the ultimate success, right, for any preacher. And there's, in this grand opening, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he recalls, right? So as Prabhupada sat on the Vyasasana, right, he said, "Actually, it's like a fact that I'm not qualified to lead any of you." And then there was like dead silence. Everyone said, "Oh, did you hear that? Did Prabhupada actually say that?" Right? Everyone was like talking amongst themselves, like, there's no way he said that, right? He because for them, he's like what brought them out of the darkness into light, right? So he says, "Yes, I don't think I'm qualified to be a leader of any of you guys, or to lead any of you guys, because in your past lives, you have been in touch with Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he planted you guys in different parts of the world, and it is your credit. Right? I have no qualification to lead any of you." This is Prabhupada's humility. Right? And another time, right? One devotee was explaining when he came to Srila Prabhupada's room, and he said, "Srila Prabhupada, you're like the greatest preacher. What you have done, nobody has done. You're the greatest preacher." And Srila Prabhupada, immediately he shook his head, and he said, "No, my Guru Maharaj is the greatest preacher." And the devotees were thinking, "But I thought you preached worldwide, right?" And Srila Prabhupada immediately looked down and he said, "No, I actually tried in India, but I could not succeed. But my Guru Maharaj, he established 64 temples in the same India that I tried." Right? This is like utmost humility. Instead of looking at so many temples that he established in America, so many people that he helped, he's undermining what he did. He's glorifying his Guru Maharaj to show that he is nothing in front of him. So he says, like, whatever I could do is because it's because of airplanes, right? At the time of my Guru Maharaj, there was no airplanes. If he had given airplanes, he would be preaching in like another planet. Right? Humility, only the weak and humble of mind inherit the kingdom of Krishna. So And this is Prabhupada's mentality, that like, which, like, us, we can't embody it all the time. It's like false ego sometimes kicks in. Someone says something bad to us, we're like, oh, this can't be happening, right? How is someone insulting us? So, but there's always also some minor confusion, right? Some people are like, oh, what's the difference between of humility and inferiority complex, right? Some people may like argue that. So it's like uh, inferiority complex. It's like false ego. It's false ego frustrated, basically. Right? You want to show that you're something. You want to show that you're good, but it's not happening. You have this false image of yourself that you're not able to display. Same thing with humility. You accept that I'm like worthless. In a way, you think that I like, there's nothing that you want to display. You're there to serve everyone. So in inferiority complex, you're always sad, right? And then when you enter the state of humility, it's like, instead of frustrations, bliss, because you understand at one point that at some time we're all going to leave the body, right? So it's better to serve and accumulate as many like good karma, as much good seva we can. Let's see. So we have like a few more minutes, right? So let's see. Um yeah. So another good story, right? So we have Ramanujacharya, right? Digvijay Pandit, he was like a great champion of like Vedic knowledge, grammar, philosophy, right? Everything. He was like the all-in-one package. He had memorized like every single verse from all the Vedas, from everything. And he would like travel all of India, challenge random people to debate, and he would like just embarrass them by beating them. Now, this was like 900 years ago. Debate was like the sport of India. Cricket, soccer, nobody like cared about that. But debate, most people, because like people back then, they had different consciousness in those days. If you were like a champion debater, you were like better than any Bollywood star, the topmost politicians, better than any cricket star, anything. Right? So this Acharya, right? He had gained so much wealth, so much fame, that he had like 4 strong men to carry him in a decorated palanquin from town to town, tirtha to tirtha, city to city. Right? He had like marching bands in front of him, and brahmanas were chanting mantras, shlokas, sutras while he was getting carried from place to place. And when he would enter a town, there would be a loud challenge. It would be announced, Ramanujacharya, he has appeared. There was no even his followers accepted that there's no question that he cannot answer, right? So he was walking, and he wasn't walking. His followers were walking, taking him from place to place, right? And as soon as he would enter village or town, all the scholars, they would like get scared. Oh, Ramanujacharya gets scared. They would all start running, right? Because they were afraid if he challenges him, right? Oh, they're gonna get embarrassed, and their reputation would be as cooked as they are. So, and then we have Parasara. He's like 5 years old, yay tall, and he walks up to him and he goes, "I have a question for you, right?" And Ramanujacharya, he looks down at him with like like to show that he's like inferior in a way or something. He's like, "I am the champion," with like great pride, right? "I'm the scholar of the world. You're just like a child. Get away from me." Oh, Brasser, he goes, "Yeah, but I still have a question. Can you answer it?" Right? So Ramanujacharya goes, "You're so young. You still have like your mother's milk on your lips. Out of your debate is serious, right?" And the little boy says, "If you're so enlightened, why are you making such emphasis on the size of my body? I'm not my body. And just answer my question, right?" And Ramanujacharya, he's like shocked by this kid's thought process. He asks, okay, what's your question? Right? So the boy, he picks up like a handful of sand from the ground. He just picks it up, right? He goes, how many grains are in it? How many grains of sand are in my hand? Now he's like absolutely stunned. He has nothing to say. Like, how does he know? Right? He's like, oh, I don't know, right? So everybody's like gathering around because he's like baffled at this point because everybody believed there's nothing that he doesn't know. So he's just like, he accepts defeat. He's like, I don't know. Then Parasa, he spoke. He said, like, a person who has knowledge, real knowledge, sees the presence of God in everyone's heart. This, like, such a person is like, he's like a tree full of fruits. What's a tree full of fruits do? They always bow down. If it has lots of good fruits, if it has lots of things to give, it bows down. And then if same thing you have a tree that doesn't have any fruits, it's like standing up straight, upright, no bowing, no nothing. That's kind of the conception of us, people who have something good to give. Look at all the good Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada, for instance, humility impersonified, right? And then there's other Mayavadis. They're always so proud to show that they're proud to show absolutely nothing in a way. So he goes, Prasad, he goes, so if you're not humble before the greatness of God, right, then all of your knowledge which you have gained, it's all as useless as like the handful of sand that I have. And now this is coming from like a little 5-year-old. So it like absolutely shakes him, it like pierces his heart. Right? So he comes down off of the palanquin and bows to the feet of the small child. And with like tears shooting from his eyes, he prays to him and he goes, I want to become your disciple. Right? And he does become his disciple later on. And so this humbleness, it's a very good devotional service in a way. It's a quality that we need to embody if we want to advance in bhakti. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he teaches us, right? One should be more tolerant than the trees and humbler than a blade of grass to make progress in spiritual life. So there's so many disturbances because of Maya. We're living in like an ocean. You can't expect a very peaceful situation in an ocean. And I guess that's all I have.